Okay, so what I want you to do, I want you to think about all of those little kind of chance encounters, a brief conversation, a brief meeting, something that can kind of change the course of your life. You know, I remember like meeting my wife, quite coincidental. I was at the theatre. What was I doing in the theatre? Can't believe it, I had a free ticket. First time and last time I went to the theatre and I met my wife. My word, who'd have thought? What you need to do is think about your own life. Think about how you've had those little coincidences, those sort of chance occurrences, and how it sort of had a huge impact. So think about those in your own life. So a couple of months ago, my son needed to go to the dentist. The appointment was kind of like a lunchtime, afternoon. It was the end of school, so he ended up coming into work with me. So he had to hang around the office, and then after work, I took him to the dentist. Now during that time, he was sort of sitting in the teacher's sort of lunchroom, just having something to eat, minding his own business, or so he thought, when one of my colleagues walked in, and she sort of knew him. Her son was in the same school, actually in the same class as my daughter, so she recognised my son. She knew Johnny, she recognised him. So she started asking him questions. Now, I kind of arrived in sort of halfway through this, and because she was like a mum, she wanted to get information, and you know, it was like 20 questions, one question after another, you know, like an interrogation, one question after the other. And you know, he was doing really well. He kept answering, going into detail, giving a bit more information, and quite impressed, quite proud of the way that, you know, unfazed by all of this, and the way that he kept going, kept talking, gave her lots of examples, explained very clearly. You know, I kind of wondered if he needed rescuing, but he was absolutely fine. So maybe a couple of days later, I talked to the colleague, and she said how helpful it was speaking to him. She'd been wondering about her son coming up to do A-levels, where would be the right place for him. Based on the conversation with my son, she decided that she would move into a different school. So this chance event will have a huge knock-on effect, completely unplanned, but it will change the course of his life. It will change the direction. By changing school, maybe the subjects that he studies, the people he meets, the conversations he has, will completely change the direction that he's heading on now. And all because of this chance encounter with my son. And I wanted him to be aware of these little conversations, because occasionally I'll sort of say to him, oh, he's quite a nice lad, where's he going to university? You know, Johnny will be like, oh, I don't really know. Ask questions. When you're talking to someone, find out a little bit of information. It's the sort of thing that you might learn something interesting from them. So by asking questions, oh, that's interesting, where are you going? What are you studying? What's that subject, you know? Find out information from people, and it's often something that can help you. And then maybe, like my son talking to my colleague, you might have information that's useful for them. And these sort of chance occurrences are very, very important. I wanted to remind Johnny of this. So I went up to him recently and I sort of said to him, now Johnny, do you remember that conversation you had a couple of months ago? You know, he was like, oh yeah, I do, yeah. And I said, these conversations are really, really important. And I explained to him that kid's going to move school. And he goes to me, that's slipstreaming. And I was like, what? And he said, yeah, in my football camp in the summer, the sports psychologist was talking about this. He was talking about asking people questions to find out what they're doing, what you can learn from them, so that you kind of get into their slipstream. In cycling, we talk about drafting. You go behind someone that's going quite fast, you kind of get in an air pocket and you're moving at the same speed, but you're not working nearly as hard. The same idea sort of with cars and the slipstream. You get in the slipstream and it's easier to sort of follow. He embraced this idea. He was telling me then about slipstreaming. So I'd like to share that with you, whether you want to call it drafting, slipstreaming. Just think about these little conversations that you have. Look to create these opportunities, these small sort of moments, these chance encounters. Maybe you've got some information that will help someone else. Maybe they have something for you. Maybe down the line you'll be able to help someone quite innocently. These opportunities that you create, I think that's making your own luck. We talk about making your own luck. When these opportunities come along, try to create them. Look for them. Help someone draft behind you, or get into someone else's slipstream. Make those opportunities count, make them happen, look for them and build on them. And that will help you play on 10. Listen, have a great day. All the best. Have fun. Bye-bye now.